Big spring for Danny Busboom Kelly and Nebraska volleyball. It was capped off on Saturday in Ord, Nebraska, as they held the annual spring scrimmage. Now, they had one in Lincoln earlier, but Nebraska dominated. They swept Kansas a week ago in Lincoln 4-0, and they swept South Dakota State 4-0 in Ord to go perfect 8-0 in sets. And they made it look easy. They got down against South Dakota State in one of the early games, and then they just kind of adjusted and then dominated.
I'm going to paraphrase Danny Busboom Kelly, but there's a comment she made that just hit me like a sledgehammer, not in a bad way, in a good way. She said, if we stay together as a team, we'll be pretty much unstoppable. I'm just like, whoa. All right. So Final Four, here we come. I mean, you got Andy Jackson, you got Rebecca Alec, you got Harper Murray, you got a returning setter in Bergen Riley.
Choboy.
Yeah, Laney Choboy and Mazzy Bozinger. It looks like they're battling for a libero job to me. And then you brought in these players that are excellent. But for her to say that really struck me, that we could be pretty much unstoppable.
They looked at, it was South Dakota State, but some of these players on their team, it feels like they've been there 10 years.
It does.
Like, it feels like I'm watching like Duke basketball in the 90s. I'm like, when's Bobby Hurley going to graduate?
When's Leitner leaving?
Like, that's what I feel like when I see Becca Alec, Andy Jackson. I'm like, God, they're back again. Yeah. Like, if you're an opposing coach, you're like,
drive you crazy.
When is Alec done? Like she's been here forever. It feels like it's, they play early and they're good early.
They're ridiculously good. Harper Murray the same way. And I don't know. I want to emphasize Bergen Riley. I feel like sometimes she flies under the radar, but they got a returning starter at quarterback who's really good. Didn't play against South Dakota State because of a wrist injury. And I think Campbell Flynn is the backup, and she came in seamlessly, led him to 4-0 win. So, and then just the whole scene in that tiny gym in Ord, where one side had like 10 rows, Now I think it
held under 2,000. I think, or was it 22?
I think it was about 1,500. Yeah, so small gym. God bless John Cook. I think it was his last big decision
he retired.
Was to go to Ord, right? And John went to Ord. So yeah, all the reports I read, it's just an incredible event for that town, as you'd imagine. People were there 4 hours beforehand. They did hayrack rides that made a loop through town. They got that program's got it rolling, Sean.
They've now played spring matches in North Platte, Ord, Scottsbluff, Grand Island, Norfolk, Wayne, Ogallala, Kearney, Central City, and McCook.
John Cook, great idea.
Hell of an idea. I'm just trying to think where else they could go.
Columbus.
Well, South Sioux City.
What's wrong with Columbus?
Well, I'm saying South Sioux City's got the 3,000 seat dome in there.
Oh yeah,
and it's on the Nebraska side. You could take it over the river and play in the Tyson Center.
No,
but
they go to Iowa.
Well, the Nebraska fans in Iowa too.
Yeah,
I think that's the next thing you could do is take this thing, play it in Des Moines and fill up a big arena. And think how upset people in Des Moines would be.
Might not be a bad idea.
Just to get under the skin of your people next door.
There's a lot of places you could still go out west.
Have Iowa State play you in Des Moines.
Yeah, that might be all right. I'd do. You know what I would do now that we're talking about it, Mr. AD? I would say no. We're gonna go out west and play a team, and we're gonna play Iowa State in Des Moines. You can do two. Like they did this year. Played Kansas in Lincoln, and then did this. I would do two. I would go out west, keep pushing out west, keep cultivating those fans out there that maybe some of them can't come in here.
You can do three. I think you can do more than. Is it just?
I thought they were limited to two, but you might be right. I thought they were limited to two.
I know in the Division II level they do more than that.
We'll ask Abby on Wednesday.
But yeah, there's a lot of possibility. I don't think that. So they haven't gone to Shattern though, have they?
I don't know.
Like Shattern State. Some of the logistics, though, I know when they do this is, they've got to get a team that would willingly want to bus there and play, and then two, you've got to have the hotel accommodations.
But how did Ord have hotel accommodations?
I know there's at least a couple properties there, but yeah, you're right. I don't know the logistics of,
Or doesn't have a big Holiday Inn.
Well, there's a cobblestone inn there, and those are nice properties on the outsides of the state. I've stayed in one in McCook before, and they're not bad. But yeah, you have to have the property. I know Summerland, which is Ewing, Nebraska, they were looked at, but they're kind of far away from the hotel options that made sense. Norfolk is a good jaunt from there, but yeah, that's part of it. That's why South Sioux City to me makes sense, because there's tons of great options there, and you could also draw a team there.
Columbus has a lot of hotel space. They do.
Why haven't they done Columbus?
Oh no, it's probably next.
Well, this is what's next. They're going to play in Freeman. Or, I mean, I don't know this, but you would think Danny Busboom Kelly next spring is going to play a match in Freeman.
But Freeman doesn't have any hotels.
Well, Lincoln. Freeman's like 15 minutes from Lincoln.
Freeman makes sense. Freeman makes sense.
Like, they play in all the leagues with my kids. Like, yeah, it's basically like, but on the way out of town.
Yeah.
I mean,
we were roping through there a lot during the fall.
Going to Beatrice.
Yeah.
But
I've never really noticed Freeman.
Well, it's a multiple communities that comprise the school.
Okay.
But yeah, I think Danny Busboom playing in Freeman, at Freeman High School in Adams, Nebraska would make a lot of sense.
We get out over our skis in these conversations. We're not car.
Well, and I do think just playing a home match makes sense anyway because of the money. Like for Dannon to have one match in Lincoln.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Do a spring match at PBA. Like, think how freaky that'd be if they get 15,000 at a spring match.
They could. I mean, wouldn't you say they could?
Yes, they would.
They sold out this one.
They would. I mean, yeah, you can't get. It's the hardest ticket to get in Nebraska.
Yeah. Sell out a spring volleyball match.
In an arena.
Yeah. Now you got to keep winning to do that. Nebraska's become this program that if they would lose in the Sweet 16, we'd be like, okay, what's going on? That's how good they are.
It's like Duke basketball.
Yeah, they're at a scary level of good when we say as pundits, if they lose in the Sweet 16, hey, what's the problem? We're in the Sweet 16, okay? I mean, but that's how good they've become.
They don't recruit, they select.
I'm not qualified to make that statement, but I believe you.
I mean, they pick the players they want. I mean, like with the NIL and the fan support, they have everything to have the advantages, the crowds, the money, the winning traditions. Great coach now coming in to replace John Cook. Yeah, it's going to be fun to see.
It is,
because they're going to be preseason 1 or 2.
I mean, I just go back to Danny's comment. We could be unstoppable.